The 2011-2012 legislative session began in Harrisburg with 29 new members taking an oath to support, obey, and defend the federal and state constitutions. Let's spend 5 minutes with one of these new members, State Representative Warren Kampf of the 157th Legislative District in Chester and Montgomery counties. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Lori.
Can you just tell me a little bit about swearing-in day and what that meant to you and the feelings that you had on that day?
Well, swearing-in day was just a great time. It's a privilege to be a state representative here in Pennsylvania from the 157th. It was wonderful to have my family there, my mom and dad and my wife and my two children. I had lots of supporters from the district who came to watch it happen. It's certainly a very serious oath we took, and I take that oath seriously, and I'm looking forward to getting my feet wet and doing the business of the people.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background as far as some past experiences you've had and how you think they'll help you and serve you here in Harrisburg?
Well, I would say a couple of things. I was on the Board of Supervisors in Tredyffrin Township, which is one of the municipalities that I now represent in the State House. I was on that board for 7 years, and I was chairman for the last two during the recession. That's an important part of my background, and another part is I was a prosecutor for 5 years when I first got out of law school. I worked in York County and also in Philadelphia County, although I'm a native of the community that I now live in. The Board of Supervisors was very helpful because it gets you accustomed to helping out constituents and citizens that you live with, your friends and neighbors. But it was also very helpful because I learned a lot about budgeting, especially during that recession, or the recession continues in my mind. But during my service as chairman, we reduced spending by 15% in our government. It was not easy. We cut about $3 million out of our budget, but it taught me how to go through the budget line by line and figure out where the savings are. And it also taught me that a taxpayer has to have a seat at the table when budgeting occurs. The work that I did as a prosecutor was obviously government service. It was serving the people of those two counties in very serious matters, criminal prosecutions of people that have, that have come before the court system for harming others. It was serious business. It was an honor to do it, and it's also constituent service.
Speaking of that, constituent service, what are some ways you would like to reach out to your constituents and just offer help and be available and accessible to them?
Well, we, like every state representative around the state, have an office. We actually have a main office in Paoli, right at Route 30 and Darby Road. And then we also have a satellite office, which has been historically in this district for at least 10 years. We're going to have that open part-time, and that's over in the Audubon Shopping Center in Lower Providence on Egypt Road. So we're going to do that. We're going to have an open door for our constituents. We also have a website, repkampf.com. We're going to be on Facebook and Twitter, the new media. And we're going to be using email and mail, traditional ways of reaching out to our constituents. And I plan to be as visible as I possibly can. I'm going to try to meet with all the municipalities and the municipal leaders. I'm going to try to set up office hours in municipal buildings where I can around the district. So I think we'll be there for citizens to find.
And we just have about 1 minute left. Can you just sum up in a sentence or two some of your priorities in this coming two-year term?
Well, I think constituent service really is number one. I think it's critical as a state representative to be available to the citizens in your district and to try to serve them. But I would like to be a part of not raising taxes, not increasing the burden on our citizens in a tough time like this. That's going to be a real challenge because there's about a $3 billion hole in the operating budget of Pennsylvania. But I think we're up to the challenge because, frankly, we have to be. The alternative of increasing the burden on working families and seniors and our job creators, I think, is unacceptable. I also would like to make Pennsylvania a little more friendly to job creation. We don't do very well even in good times in creating jobs. There's some ways I think we can reduce the burden on our job sector through tax and regulatory reform. I think we've got to do that for the future of the 157th and also of Pennsylvania generally. And I would just add, I do think that some of the burdens that the state has created over the years are things that we have to chip away at. For example, I am not taking a COLA this year. I didn't think that that was right with individuals not receiving raises in our district and many out of work. And I'm also not going to take the state pension, and I'm going to try to be a part of making the state and school district employees go to a defined contribution plan for new hires. I think that's required for today's times, and things like that I'd like to work on up here in Harrisburg.
Thank you. If you have any comments or questions about this or any other legislative topic, Representative Kampf's contact information will be on the screen in just a few seconds. I'm Laurie Bull. Thanks for spending 5 minutes with State Representative Warren Kampf.